welcome back. So it's been a while since I have sat my butt in front of you guys. I have, as you can tell, been trying out some new things. So to start out with, I am just going to, in an effort to be as transparent as possible, I'm just going to talk for a few minutes. Today's video is going to be about Snorri Sturluson and the Poetic and Prose Edda and the differences between the two. And I'm going to go real in-depth and describe those, but for a minute I'm just going to talk about what I've been up to. So if you're not interested in hearing this part, I'll try to remember to put a timestamp where the part starts about Snorri in the description. But I would like to kind of express to you guys that I know you've noticed some changes in the channel. I am learning some things about AI, and there's definitely a very, people are either for or against it, for sure. And I am ambivalent. I'm not sure what it's going to do or how things are going to go. I am an artistic person, like this artwork right behind me. I did that. It's an oil painting of my filga. So I do artwork. I've sold in galleries. I am an artist. I love creating things. Obviously, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Etsy, I'm making all kinds of stuff. But I decided to explore it more in reference to YouTube because I noticed that a lot of the videos that are getting millions of views have AI assistance in some way, shape, or form. And I am not doing this. I'm doing this because I love educating people. Yes, and especially about Norse culture and that time period, even in different areas of Europe. I really like ancient history. And so I like to educate people on ancient history. That is my goal. It is also my goal to do something that I love and get paid for it. So I realized that my channel I need to make it better. I need to find ways to make it better, even though I maybe don't have the technical experience or know-how to do that. And I saw that a lot of other channels that I like are utilizing this in some way. And so I have started learning how to use it and incorporate it. It is a learning process. I'm definitely not done. I've just started kind of educating myself on how to do things. And there are things about AI that I do not like, especially in reference to YouTube specifically. I don't especially like the script writing. I have utilized it for 2 of my videos, and I heavily edited the scripts that it gave me. And still, it wasn't quite where I would want it to be. But both of those videos went viral. So the conundrum for me is that while I understand that a lot of you do not like the idea of AI, my goal is to become financially stable in doing this and my other endeavors, my Etsy and things like that. So I have to probably utilize some of that. I don't want to give up this format because I like doing this format, but this format takes a lot of time, a lot more time. So I can make a more polished video in less time with AI and get more views than I get with this style. And so that's the decision and the dilemma that I'm in. As I prefer this style, I prefer doing this, but the AI brings in more viewers. They spend more time watching, so I guess I'm kind of boring, but the long form and me talking and reading is what I enjoy doing. So what the decision that I've made is that I'm going to utilize AI for probably 3 weeks of videos, at least 3 to 4, maybe 5 or 6, because I can do them much faster. Even though I have to spend like 4 or 5 hours editing, I can still complete them much faster. And then I can spend more time on these videos and do them once a month. So it'll kind of be a balance. That way I'm still doing something that I enjoy and I get to be a part of this situation. And I still get the videos done that bring in the massive amounts of viewers. And I don't know if it's an algorithm thing or if people really do just like it better. It is more polished in the end. I am learning video editing. And so maybe at some point I can get to where I can make these more edited and more polished for you guys and make the channel better, and that is my goal. So I am trying to learn all of these things just to be able to do that and make a better end product video for everyone who, so it will be enjoyable. And then I also wanted to let you guys know what it is I am using AI for specifically. So I am doing the research and I am compiling the content. So even when I make an AI video, I am compiling the content, I am doing the research, I am verifying the sources, and then I am providing the content, the sources, and basically, I'm writing practically the whole thing, and then I'm asking AI to polish it for me and to give me a list, a source citation list, so that it's typed out correctly. It's my source citations, but it just puts them together in 2 seconds, and then I can put them in the description for you guys so that they're cited correctly and it looks good. So the AI that I'm using is kind of secretarial, and occasionally, I'll write a script and I will look at a paragraph and I'll go, that reads poorly, or it's boring, or something like that, and I'll put that paragraph in and go, rewrite this for me so that it's more exciting, or so that it sounds more intellectual. And then AI will rewrite it for me, and frequently it's good. I like it, and I'll use it. So those are what I'm using AI for, and then I'm using AI to edit the videos and put stock footage and things like that in there. Frequently I'll take some out, some will be irrelevant or weird, won't really fit, and I'll take those out and add something that's more appropriate. But it is shortening the process time, and because I don't have the skills in editing, it is helping me make a more finished looking product. So that is what I'm using AI for. There's nothing that I'm posting that I don't already know the history of and know about, and I am providing the material to use, and the AI is refining that and editing the videos for me. So that's what I'm using it for. I'm also using some AI images in the editing process. So I just wanted to let you guys know about all of that stuff in an effort to be transparent with what's going on. So basically, you'll see 3 to 5 videos per week of AI-assisted channel posts. And then I'll do at least 1 per month, if not more, but at least 1 per month of me reading something in this format. And as I go along, as I'm learning to edit videos, I'll start editing these videos so that they're more engaging, because I am learning that process as well. But it's a huge learning process. I've learned so much in the last 2 months that I'm just overwhelmed with information, and I'm putting it all to use. So that's what I'll be doing, and I just wanted to give you guys a little update on that. Please do like, subscribe, comment, Tell me what you think of the new styles. I mean, those couple AI videos that I did, they went viral. So, you know, if you like this style video, make a comment, like it, subscribe, do those sorts of things, because it helps these go into the algorithm system and be shown to more people so that they get more popular. And ultimately, I am trying to, my goal is to be able to retire from nursing and do this, because this is what I love. And everybody says, do what you love. So this is what I love to do. I love teaching people. It's very important to me. So if you would like to support the channel in any way towards that goal of me being able to spend more time and more effort and put more energy into refining these and making them better for everyone, you can check out my Etsy store. I have over 650 products in there now, and a lot of them are Norse themed, educational themed. If you have historian friends, share it with them. It's called Viking Adventure Gifts, and it's on Etsy. And then I have a gothic side too that's got the more creepy, girly, weird stuff, you know, because I'm goth at heart, so I had to do one of those. And that's Gothic Adventure, and that's also on Etsy. You can click through the Temu link. That's an affiliate link where if you're going to buy something on Temu, it'll, you know, give us a portion of, if you do actually buy something, it'll give us a portion of that to help support us in that way. And so if you're already going to buy something on Temu, go through my link. You know, it helps me a lot. And then I don't have a Patreon, and I don't know that I'm going to do that right now. So those are the ways that you can support. You can comment, share, that's free to do. And I greatly appreciate all of those things. And I thank you guys for going with me on this journey, because it's been amazing. I mean, to learn the stuff that I've learned, I just never thought I'd be able to edit videos, and I'm learning how. So it's all very interesting. And I have enjoyed it immensely. It has really inspired me. That's one thing with using the AI, is I thought before using it, I thought it was, I never thought it would be inspirational, but it has inspired me, and I am thinking of creating things in new ways. So it's been fun, the whole thing. So I'm gonna get started with today's video, which I have been wanting to do this for a while, because I do feel like sometimes people don't really understand the difference between these two things, and they're very important within our source material, so it's important to understand them. So here we go. This is going to be on Snorri and the differences between the Poetic Edda and the Prose Edda. So we're going to start today with the Poetic Edda. The Poetic Edda is an essential collection of Old Norse mythological and heroic poems, which provides one of the most comprehensive glimpses into Norse mythology, cosmology, and ancient Scandinavian worldview. Unlike the Prose Edda, which was authored by Snorri Sturluson, the Poetic Edda is an anthology of anonymous poems. These poems are considered primary resources for Norse mythology, and they serve as the basis for much of what we know today about Norse gods. The creation and destruction of the world, and legendary figures in Germanic heroic tradition. Composition and authorship. The Poetic Edda does not have a single author or a consistent narrative voice. The poems within it were likely passed down orally for centuries before being compiled. It is generally accepted that the Poetic Edda was finally written down in the 13th century, likely in Iceland, though the material itself is thought to date back to as early as the 9th century. The poems in the Poetic Edda were preserved in the Codex Regius a manuscript discovered in the 17th century, which contains the most complete collection of these works. This manuscript, along with other sources like AM 74842 manuscript, forms the basis of what we now call the Poetic Edda. Scholars believe the poems originated in oral tradition, with each one evolving as it was passed down from generation to generation, adapting to the context and interpretations of different storytellers. Despite its relatively late transcription, the Poetic Edda is believed to preserve a significant amount of ancient Norse culture and beliefs that date back centuries, reflecting the worldview of pre-Christian Scandinavia. Structure and content. The Poetic Edda is generally divided into two main sections: mythological poems. These poems focus on Norse gods and cosmology, recounting stories of creation, the actions of gods, and the prophecy of the world's end, known as Ragnarok. Some of the most famous mythological poems include the Voluspa, the prophecy of the seeress, one of the most central texts. This poem describes the creation of the world, the rise of the gods, and foretells the events of Ragnarok, where the world is destined to end and be reborn. Told from the perspective of a Volva, or seeress, Voluspa is rich in imagery and metaphor. Havamal, the sayings of the High One. This text is a collection of gnomic verses and wisdom attributed to Odin, offering advice on ethics, personal conduct, and the challenges of life. Grimnismal, the sayings of Grimnir, a poem in which Odin, disguised as Grimnir, recounts information about the various realms in Norse cosmology and the nature of the gods. Lokasenna, the flighting of Loki. I like to call it Loki's dinner rant. I did a reading of that. That's also, you can find that in the Norse playlist. A contentious and humorous poem where Loki, the trickster god, insults the other gods, revealing their flaws and tensions. Heroic poems. These poems depict legendary heroes and events and are often more secular in tone. They explore themes of honor, betrayal, and revenge, and are thought to be based on historical figures and events that became mythologized over time. Some key poems in this section include Volsunga Saga, the cycle of Sigurd the Dragon Slayer, Runhildr, and the tragic Volsung family, drawing on legendary Germanic and Norse hero tales. This cycle profoundly influenced later European literature and even appears in the works of J.R.R. Tolkien and Richard Wagner's Ring Cycle, Altkavida and Atlamal, poems focusing on the legendary hero Gunnar and his betrayal by Atli, who is often equated with Attila the Hun. These poems explore the concepts of loyalty, vengeance, and the cost of kinslaying. I have also read the Atlamal, and that is in the Norse playlist as well. And those are full readings, beginning to end. Poetic style and techniques. The Poetic Edda is written in traditional Old Norse meter, often employing alliterative verse rather than rhyme. Common meters include Fornirdislag, Bislag, Old Story meter, characterized by 4 stressed lines with alliteration linking pairs of lines, and Ljóðahatr, song meter, used for more dramatic and declarative passages. The use of Kinning's compound metaphors, like whale road, for the sea is a hallmark of Norse poetic tradition, showcasing a complex and metaphorical language that conveys ideas vividly. The structure of the Poetic Edda, with its flexible yet formulaic verse forms, reflects its roots in oral tradition. The repetition of phrases and motifs would have made the poems easier to memorize, while alliteration served as an auditory device for storytellers. Sorry about the cat. This is Peter Porch. She is Peter. Just FYI. Themes and symbolism. The Poetic Edda is replete with themes of fate, death, and rebirth. The concept of Ragnarok, or the twilight of the gods, permeates the mythological poems, underscoring the Norse worldview of an inevitable end for both gods and men, followed by renewal. This cyclical notion contrasts with many other ancient mythologies, where the gods are often viewed as immortal and eternal. Another central theme is wisdom, especially in the Havamal, which reflects the value placed on knowledge, experience, and the insight of the gods, particularly Odin. Odin's pursuit of wisdom, even at great personal cost, as in the sacrifice of his eye to drink from Mimir's well, symbolizes the Norse respect for wisdom as a hard-won virtue. The heroic poems of the Edda explore honor, kinship, and vengeance, revealing a worldview that valued family ties and personal reputation above all else. Betrayals, oaths, and kinslaying are recurrent motifs, reflecting the often harsh and violent realities of early medieval Norse society. Historical and cultural context. The Poetic Edda is a product of medieval Iceland, a society with strong oral traditions and a complex relationship with its pagan past. By the 13th century, Iceland was predominantly Christian, and the oral traditions that preserved Norse mythology were under threat. The recording of the Edda, along with other sagas, reflects a desire among Icelanders to preserve their cultural identity amid the influence of Christianity and continental European culture. The transmission of the Eddic poems was likely influenced by monastic scribes who played a significant role in recording Icelandic literature. This Christian influence may have colored the transcription process, though scholars generally agree that the core pagan beliefs and cosmology remain relatively intact. Influence and legacy. The Poetic Edda's impact extends beyond Norse literature, influencing later medieval texts, folklore, and modern popular culture. It served as a foundation for Snorri Sturluson's Prose Edda, a more systematic presentation of Norse myths. In modern times, it has influenced literature, music, art, and even film. Works like Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, Wagner's Ring Cycle, and the portrayal of Norse mythology in modern fantasy are deeply indebted to the stories found in the Poetic Edda. Now we're going to move on to the Prose Edda. The Prose Edda, also known as the Younger Edda, or Snorri Edda, is a foundational work of Norse mythology and poetics, compiled in the early 13th century by Snorri Sturluson, an Icelandic historian, chieftain, and poet. It is a complex, multi-part manual on Norse mythology, poetry, and language, with an emphasis on preserving the rich oral traditions of Icelandic skaldic poetry. Composed around 1220, the Prose Edda is invaluable to the study of Norse mythology, providing systematic narratives of the myths, gods, and legends, as well as a guide to the poetic forms used by early Icelandic poets. Author Snorri Sturluson. Snorri Sturluson 1179 to 1241, was an influential Icelandic chieftain, politician, and scholar, whose role in preserving Norse literature cannot be overstated. Born into a prominent family in Iceland, Snorri became involved in Iceland's internal power struggles, eventually serving as a lawmaker at the Althing, Iceland's national assembly. His work as a historian and poet led him to write several critical Icelandic works, including Heimskringla, a historical account of Norwegian kings, and the Prose Edda. Snorri's intent in compiling the Prose Edda was likely dual: to preserve the Norse cultural heritage and to provide a guide for understanding the complex poetic devices used by skalds. By the 13th century, Iceland had undergone Christianization, and much of the pagan tradition was at risk of being lost. Snorri's efforts allowed later generations to understand Norse myths and the art of traditional skaldic poetry. Structuring content of the Prose Edda. The Prose Edda is structured into 4 main parts. Prologue. The prologue frames Norse mythology within a Christianized context, a feature that has sparked debate among scholars and lots of people. In it, Snorri presents the Norse gods as ancient human figures whose fame led to their deification, effectively explaining the myths in a way that might have made them more acceptable to a Christian audience. Gylfagetting. The tricking of Gylfi. This is the mythological core of the Prose Edda. It follows King Gylfi of Sweden, who disguises himself as Ngangleri and travels to the realm of the gods, where he encounters 3 figures high, just as high, and third, who teach him about Norse cosmology, the creation and eventual destruction of the world, and the pantheon of gods. Here, Snorri introduces characters such as Odin, Thor, and Loki, as well as concepts like Yggdrasil, the world tree, and the foretelling of Ragnarok, the end of the world. I can never say this word correctly, I'm so sorry. Skaldskaparmal, the language of poetry. This section serves as a handbook for understanding the metaphorical language and complex kennings used by skaldic poets. Through a dialogue between the god Aegir and Bragi, the god of poetry, Snorri explains the origins of various poetic expressions and kennings, referencing myths and legends to illustrate how poets might use these devices. For example, a whale road is a kenning for the sea. Skaldskaparmal not only explains mythological stories, but also provides insight into how these stories were poetically encoded in skaldic tradition. Hnefatafl, the list of meters. The final section is a technical analysis of Icelandic poetic forms and meters, written by Snorri to catalog the numerous types of verse used by skalds. Snorri composed verses in different meters to demonstrate their structure, aiming to teach aspiring poets the rules and patterns essential to skaldic verse. Themes and symbols. The Prose Edda reveals key themes of Norse culture, including fate and heroic struggle. Through the framework of Norse mythology, Snorri explores the cyclical nature of the cosmos and the inevitability of Ragnarok, when the gods and the world itself are fated to die and be reborn. The Edda also emphasizes the importance of wisdom and knowledge, particularly in the character of Odin, who sacrifices greatly for wisdom. Another prevalent theme is the balance between order and chaos, represented by the gods' order and the giants' chaos. which manifests in stories such as the binding of the chaotic wolf Fenrir. Snorri's work reflects a unique blend of Christian and pagan beliefs, which may have influenced his portrayal of certain myths. The Prose Edda's Christian prologue, for instance, suggests Snorri's attempt to reconcile Iceland's pagan past with its Christian present, an approach that makes the work particularly valuable for understanding the cultural transition occurring in Iceland at the time. Historical and cultural context. The Prose Edda was written during a time of political and religious transformation in Iceland. Following Iceland's conversion to Christianity in 1000 CE, the island gradually distanced itself from its pagan heritage. As Christianity spread, oral traditions that celebrated Norse gods and heroes began to fade, and the introduction of writing by the Christian clergy created new opportunities to preserve older stories. Snorri, living in the 13th century, recognized the cultural significance of these myths and sought to preserve them, albeit within a Christianized framework. Snorri's work was instrumental not only in documenting Norse mythology, but also in codifying the rules of skaldic poetry, which was highly revered in Icelandic culture. The preservation of skaldic verse, with its intricate language and mythological allusions, allowed subsequent generations to study and appreciate Norse poetic tradition, even as Iceland moved further into a Christianized medieval European sphere. Influence and legacy. The Prose Edda has had a profound impact on the study of Norse mythology and medieval literature. It remains a foundational text, heavily influencing modern depictions of Norse gods and myths. Without Snorri's documentation, it is likely that much of the Norse mythological tradition would have been lost. His work influenced authors like J.R.R. Tolkien, who drew on Norse mythology and poetic forms in his Middle-earth works, as well as 19th century Romantic writers, artists, and composers. Today, the Prose Edda is frequently referenced in popular media, from novels to video games, ensuring that Norse mythology continues to resonate in contemporary culture. The legacy of Snorri Sturluson and the Eddas. Snorri's efforts helped shape our understanding of Norse mythology. Without him, much of this knowledge might have been lost, especially as Christianity spread throughout Northern Europe. The Prose Edda and Poetic Edda provide a foundation for Norse storytelling and culture that resonates today, influencing everything from literature to modern media. Even modern works, such as Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, Marvel's Thor, and countless novels, games, and films, draw heavily from the stories preserved in the Eddas. Thank you for joining me on this journey into Norse mythology and the legacy of Snorri Sturluson. I hope you enjoyed learning about the Eddas and the fascinating stories they contain. Please like, subscribe, and comment. If you enjoyed this, I have plenty more. Some of my favorites are, I did a reading of Rolf and the Viking's Bow, which is 7 hours long. I read the whole book, and it's really good. So if you like to fall asleep listening to stories, that's a good one. Another one of my favorites is the Lilith set. That's in the esoteric playlist. There's 3 videos on Lilith. It's a very deep dive. It's like 2.5 or 3 hours all about Lilith. And then of course the Abraxas video, which has over 35,000 views, like 700 comments. I think it turned out really great, but it's the esoteric god Abraxas. So there's that video. So if you did enjoy this, please like, subscribe, make a comment. It really helps with the algorithms and helps to boost the people who are searching for this kind of stuff to be able to see it. And make a comment. Tell me what's your favorite Norse myth? What is your favorite god or goddess? I do try to respond to all my comments. In the description will be links to our Etsy shop, Viking Adventure Gifts, and Gothic Adventure Gifts, where you can find unique, inspired items that are like Norse or historical. Tons of stuff. It's good. I'm pretty proud of it, and it was a lot of work. So at least go look. Favorite the shop. That'll help. You don't have to buy anything. But I'll put links to that in the description. And I also now have 3 YouTube channels. There's Lily's Sweet Dreams and also Lily's Macabre Adventure. I'm trying to make the Sweet Dreams channel one where I can live stream sleep music and sleep sounds and background music for cleaning or studying, that sort of thing. But it's turning out that there's a lot of issues that I can't handle with a low subscriber. I can't get the customer service. So I can only get customer service on this channel. So I have to stream it through this channel first. So you guys get sleep music. If you like that, go for it. If not, ignore it, whatever, you know. But I'm doing that. And then on Lily's Macabre Adventure YouTube, that is the occasional creepy stories, ghost stories, serial killers, you know, that kind of thing. So if you like that, check it out. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good night.